So today I'm going to talk about drone operations and whether you consider yourself a hobbyist or a 107 commercial pilot while you fly. Did you know the FAA thinks that most hobbyists are flying illegally? Well, today I'm going to have a phone call with the FAA and specifically find out what categorizes you as a hobbyist or a 107 pilot when you fly. So let's go. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by, always appreciate it. It's good to see you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Keith and this is Alien Drones. And I do mostly drone tech, photography, tips and tutorials, and industry news. And if that's something that's of interest to you, you might want to hit the subscribe button. That will let you know when there's future content that might be of interest to you. So let's just get right into it. So when you take your drone out for a flight, you need to classify yourself in one of two ways. Either you classify yourself as a hobbyist flyer, flying under recreational rules only, or you're flying under a commercial certificate, 107. Now, did you know that the FAA considers the majority of flights out there of drones to be 107 in nature? They think that the majority of hobbyists that are out there flying are considering themselves hobbyists, but they're not. They're truly a 107 mission. Which means you as a hobbyist, if you're going out, taking pictures of a landscape, taking pictures of your house, a little video of a sunset, you are flying illegally if you do not have a 107 certificate. Now this was a surprise to me. I didn't expect that when I called the FAA. I did have a conversation with the FAA representative that allows me to play this phone call for you guys on this channel. So on the phone I have James from the UAV Support Center, and I'm happy that he's agreed to give us the FAA's definition of how to classify ourselves as either hobbyists or 107 commercial pilots correctly, so that if the FAA were to ever review one of our operations, they would agree that we classified ourselves in that situation as a hobbyist or a 107 pilot. So James, I always think if I'm flying 107 that I'm taking money somewhere. Either I'm getting paid for a video, paid for a picture, somebody's paying for me for my time, to do real estate or something like that. Or even if I post a video or something on my channel and I monetize it on a YouTube channel or put it on Facebook and I get advertising revenue or something like that. It's pretty cut and dry to me. If I'm not getting money, then indeed I'm flying as a hobbyist, right?
Most people think that if the only operations that involve Part 107 are operations that there's an exchange of money. And that's so misleading because a commercial operation or a Part 107 operation has very little to do with compensation or any kind of monetary value or money or anything. It's the intent of the operation, and most people think, oh, well, I'm not making money on it, so I can do it recreationally. But that's where these YouTube videos come into play, where there's a lot of guys out there. Honestly, the reason I found out about these social media outreach opportunities is just 2 days ago, I had a guy call in and tell me that the FAA reached out to him on social media and said that he needs to contact us to learn about the rules and regulations. And he walked me to his social media webpage, and I saw the post. And he was, in fact, doing Part 107 operations under recreational flyer, as a recreational flyer, and he thought because he was doing it voluntarily, that it was okay to do it under recreational. But a Part 107 operation is a Part 107 operation, period. It doesn't matter if you're a church doing some volunteer work. We get that all the time. Unfortunately, when you're doing an advanced operation, you have to have an advanced certificate so that you're properly educated and trained. And that's one of the biggest misunderstandings that I've seen so far. And it seems like we see this quite often daily, where people think that there has to be money involved to make it Part 107.
So I have a feeling there are a lot of pilots out there right now that think they can fly as a hobbyist and have been doing it. And if the FAA would actually look at their flight, that they would tell them that they're really flying under 107. That's a little scary. So is there a simple way, a nice rule of thumb, or some nice cut and dry rule that would tell us how often we're flying as a hobbyist, or that we're flying as a hobbyist, and or that we really should classify yourself as a 107 pilot. That'd be really nice to know the detail exactly every time we can apply it to our flight before we fly.
So the way that I describe it whenever I do outreach is, okay, so if for drones under 55 pounds, the rule is Part 107. There is a very small exception for recreational flying. And that exception to the rule, Part 107, is governed by like 11 different rules, or you can operate under a CBO. But so the way you look at it is, if the easy way to describe a recreational flight would be, think of like going to the park and flying a kite. You know, you're out there just enjoying the day flying a kite, or just strictly for fun, for the enjoyment. Well, remove the string and add a controller. Now you have a recreational flight for a drone. You know, that is strictly recreational, is strictly for fun or the enjoyment of the hobby. You know, you're not trying to capture a video to post on your feed. That would be, your intent is not to fly for fun. Your intent is to capture video footage to use on your social media page. So that would be a Part 107 operation. If you're out flying around for fun and your camera's always on and you happen to capture some cool footage and you post it on social media, now that would be recreational. But if your sole intent is to go out and capture, that's kind of in a way, you know, promoting yourself. You know, when you post that, like if, say for instance, you are out just flying around and you capture some footage and you post on your social media page, and then all of a sudden a company comes to you and asks you to use that footage, or somebody reposts your footage, or somebody like tags your footage in something else. See, you're not in violation because you're a recreational flyer. The company that took your footage and used it in different means than it was intended would be in violation, and they can get in trouble. But if you go out the second time and now your intent is to put some cool footage because you're hoping other people start, like, you know, it grows your likes because other people are starting to take notice, now you're fully aware what you're doing, and your intent is to grow your Facebook page, or, you know, or to hope that someone else is going to take your footage and use it, then that would be Part 107. That would fall under furtherance of a business, which is Part 107.
Now, furtherance of a business. Now, that's something that I've heard before. And again, I always thought furtherance of a business was you're making money or you're doing something really easily identifiable as commercial in nature. I mean, even if you're going out and flying and taking videos and you're giving them to somebody to promote yourself, to build a portfolio, for instance, if you're doing real estate videos. I mean, I can see where that would be considered commercial. But this is really interesting. I bet most of the drone pilots out there have no idea that most of the flights that they're taking are probably considered 107 and don't know what makes it 107. So I really thank you for this concise kind of definition, because I think, you know, the viewers are really going to appreciate it. I know I do. It's new to me.
That's my point. And outreach is so difficult, and it's such a great area because the FAA doesn't want to over-regulate the hobby, so they leave it kind of vague, you know, because we're here to promote you. We're here. I mean, a lot of the astronauts started off as modelers. You know, it's an awesome hobby, and that's why we're here. We're here to support you and help support your hobby. But we're also here to keep you safe and legal, so you can continue to enjoy your hobby without any fines or fees. Because with drones nowadays, as soon as a drone lifts off the ground, anybody in earshot or eyeshot is a concerned citizen, and they're going to reach out to law enforcement. They're going to reach out to us, and they're going to report that person. So we try to make sure everybody's educated, so that if they do get approached by law enforcement or FAA, that they have the proper tools to show, you know, that they are legal and that they are within the rights.
Okay, I hear you, and I can tell you from experience that myself, and I'm sure most of the viewers here, are concerned about being approached by local law enforcement or the somebody from the general public, the local Karen patrol, telling us that we're doing things wrong, or they're going to report us and things like that. So this information is certainly going to help us identify how we're flying, and that we know, again, it's all about getting the right information so that we're confident that we're doing things right and safe, right? This is really good stuff for sure. So let me get your opinion about something else that I hear quite often, and sometimes in the feed, and again, like our last phone call, once you filter out the hate. But I hear things on the channel like, man, you're taking this way too seriously. This is a toy. What are you doing? You're not flying an airplane. You're not having a helicopter. Get over yourself. This is a toy. So stop talking about commercial operations and all that stuff. This is just a toy. So, what are your thoughts on that?
A lot of people consider the drone a toy, a tool camera. So they don't think or tie it to federal aviation rules and regulations. If it's just a toy, try dropping a 5-pound rock on somebody's head, moving at a certain velocity. But that's just it. People just don't understand that there is I always tell people this story. My first week or two, I was in this office. We received an email from a very, very angry person. And what happened was a little kid, I think the kid at the time, I remember being 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, somewhere below 10, was out walking down a sidewalk, flying like a little dollar store drone. It was like a little cheap drone. And he lost control. You can imagine probably pretty hard to fly. Yeah. And it hit this guy in the face. It knocked his glasses off, broke his glasses, and cut his face. And he was irate. He wanted to press charges to the furthest extent against the family. And this was just a little hand-sized drone that probably didn't weigh enough to even be registered. And so imagine that now being like a 5 to 10 pound drone. I mean, that broke his glasses and cut his face where he was bleeding.
That is so true. I get that for sure. As I mentioned before, we always try to fly safe. I always promote it here on the channel. Safety first when you're flying. Of course, you still want to have fun, but if you're not safe first, it's not any fun if people are going to get hurt or you have a problem with, flying erratically. We don't want to do that, of course. Most of the viewers here are really very conscious. They just want to do it right. So this is a super amount of information, really good. I do appreciate it. I think that it's going to give us a new perspective on some things. I really do appreciate your time. I know I don't want to take a lot of your time here, but certainly thank you for letting me bother you, calling you and taking your time. But again, I know our viewers really do appreciate your viewpoints because, we just want to do it right and be safe. And if we ever are approached by FAA or law enforcement, we know we're doing it right. We can be pretty confident, and that adds to the fun if we know what we're doing and we're confident in it. So I really do, again, appreciate your time. It's great for the industry. So thank you.
You're never bothering us. Right here, this phone number is the exact number for people like you to call us. That's what we get paid to do, is to help you, assist you. So there's never any sort of bothering going on here. We appreciate you calling us and contacting us, especially guys like you that you're doing it so often you can spread the word. That's very important. That's extremely important for us.
Oh, again, thank you. Thank you for your flattery. I do appreciate that. So that's all the time I'm going to take for you today. Again, I am going to call you in the future if that's okay. There's so many more things that I know we'd like to know as drone pilots that we want to do right. So I'm going to keep calling you. I'm going to hold you up. I'm going to hold you to your offer of calling you. So again, I really do appreciate your time. And we're going to talk again in the future. So I appreciate your candor. We'll talk again soon for sure.
Glad to hear that. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, we definitely will. Definitely will. Thank you. Thanks again very much.
Yes, sir. Good day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so that was an interesting call from the FAA. This is information I didn't know how to define yourself as a hobbyist according to the FAA or 107. I thought I kind of knew, but boy, I think a lot of us are doing it wrong, I hate to say. But now we know, and if there's one thing I would take away from this conversation is I would say to all you hobbyists out there, think about getting your 107. There's very few operations that really are hobbyist in nature, are truly recreational, and if something goes wrong, the FAA is going to say it wasn't a hobbyist or a recreational flight, and you should have had your, your 107 certificate. So I would just recommend get your 107. I think with a lot that's going on in the industry anyway, it's probably going to be a lot more useful. I mean, we've got the remote ID, of course, that's coming up. We've got the UTM that they're going to be pursuing. So really, I think the 107 is going to mean a lot more in the future than it ever has in the past. So, I would recommend that you indeed do that. So that's all I have for you today on how to classify yourself as a hobbyist or a 107 pilot. That being said, if you found anything of use in this video or anything you didn't know before, I would appreciate a like. It does help YouTube promote us so that you can see future content from this channel. And also, again, if you did not hit the subscribe already, make sure you do that and click the notify bell, because we are going to have more conversations with the FAA on various subjects. So make sure you click that so that you'll know that when it happens, you'll get notified. So that's all I have for today. I really do appreciate your time. Until next time and next video, good flying.